No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show, presented by Play Now, the official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets, starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show presented by our friends at Play Now. Along with Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to discuss yet another Winnipeg Jets victory, their third straight on home ice during this homestand. Tonight's victory, a 2-1 margin over the Seattle Kraken, a game that was not the prettiest, most exciting game we've ever seen, Ezra Ginsburg, but the Winnipeg Jets can really take to heart that their first period, which wasn't great, they got significantly better as the game went on, holding the Seattle Kraken to a whopping 8 shots on goal over the entirety of the final 40 minutes of tonight's contest. The Jets clamped down, ended up getting the victory, as we'll discuss in the Play Now game recap, but they all can't be Picassos, but the defensive performance by the Jets left a lot to be appreciated tonight in tonight's contest.
Absolutely. 3 wins in a row and another 1-goal performance by Connor Hellebuck. He just doesn't like to allow more than a goal, especially at home. And you're absolutely right, Drew. Like some 1-1 games, 2-1 games, but the game was 1-1 for a long period of tonight's game. Some close games are close. Some 2-1 games are exciting. This one was not. Not to say that it was a bad hockey game, but
no,
it just wasn't, like you said, it wasn't a Picasso. And you know, I agree with you. The Jets got better as this game progressed. The second period was completely one-sided. And in that third period, obviously, you know, Adam Lowry rings one off the iron. Logan Stanley rung one off the iron. And you got the impression that the Kraken in the 5th game of a 5-game road trip were happy just to get that game to overtime and get 1 point, right? And, you know, watching especially the first period, you kind of wonder, like, why don't the Kraken have more wins this year? It's a fast team. They've got a lot of skill. That defense, that back end can move the puck. Brandon Montour was really good, and he's obviously a physical defenseman as well. He was laying the body, right? But, I mean, there's just not a lot of game breakers, right? Like, obviously, they've got Matty Beniers. You know, Jared McCann's a good hockey player. I think Capo Caco has actually fit in really nice on this team. And hold on, let me try to get my camera back here, Drew.
You just disappeared into the ether. We can still hear you, but now we can see you again.
Well, people can't really see all the cords. Like, we were talking about this. I was a little late, and the chat was giving it to me, rightfully so. But, you know, we've got to plug in the webcam. We've got to plug in our headphones. We've got to plug in our microphone. Like, there's a lot of cords here, so it's easy for me to knock something out, right? So, but yeah, you know, this game was one of those games, like, they could have easily lost 2 points in this game, right? Like the Kraken, even though they only had 3 shots, you know,
when it's a tie game, and all it takes is one bad bounce or one bad deflection. I mean, look, I mean, the Kraken have to be saying, look, of all the times for a puck to hit the stanchion and take a bounce against us, you know, the Kraken have to be pleased with their game tonight, yet obviously disappointed with the end result. And I think that just, you know, for the Winnipeg Jets, this wasn't the Jets at their best. You know, Scheifele, Velarde, Kyle Connor did not have their best performance.
Sorry, Drew. That's a brilliant comment.
For those in the podcast, No Frills Dino says Ezzy plug in Decord, which is a very good pun and a play on words, given Joey Decord was the Kraken goaltender for tonight. So that was very
I had to stop your train of thought there. You were talking about the Jets top line.
I was saying that, you know, this was not Scheifele, Connor, and Velarde at their best. They were caved in at 5-on-5 possession-wise. You know, they were 27% was their Corsi 4 percentage as a line in tonight's game, which is not something you've typically heard about that line lately. That line has usually been pretty good at 5-on-5. Tonight was not their best night. This was the Iafallo, Lowry, and Ehlers night. They were terrific. 71%. The 27 shot attempts versus 11 shot attempts against in tonight's contest. This was the Iafallo, Lowry, and Ehlers line. They were really the ones who drove the Winnipeg Jets' performance tonight, not the top line, which, there's going to be nights where the top line isn't going. They did at 5-on-5, of course. We'll get into that. Pardon me, on the power play, we'll get into that. But it's great from the Jets' perspective to see that another line can step up. And it's becoming more and more, maybe not apparent, but boy, is it tantalizing. And we'll talk about this in more detail on Saturday morning's Illegal Curve Hockey Show. But boy, is it tantalizing. Have the Jets sort of found something unexpected with that Lowry and Ehlers combination with Alex Iafallo as well. But boy, is that maybe turning into something, some found money, and maybe allows the Winnipeg Jets to sort of reconsider and reconfigure their forward group after the Connor Scheifele-Velarde line.
I really think you're right, Drew. And I don't think anybody is looking at this line and saying that this is going to be the line that the Jets go with for the rest of the season, or the line the Jets go with to start the playoffs. But I think it's given you pause for thought, especially, I think, with the way Iafallo has fit in on that line. We've seen Iafallo move up to the second line. Adam Lowry plays a very similar game. He could be the first line center. He's going to play a very similar game, but he creates a lot of time and space for Nikolai Ehlers. Yeah. He plays north-south. Obviously, Ehlers likes to play east-west a little bit more. He likes to hang on to that puck. If he gets going in the offensive zone, it's hard to take the puck from him. But you're absolutely right. And to be honest with you, I like the look of the third line as well. We talked about this last game. And
they had a 60% Corsi 4 percentage, just sticking on that same topic in tonight's contest.
Yeah, and we mentioned, Lowry, Ehlers found Lowry in the middle, and he hit the iron, and Ehlers had a really good scoring chance to start the game. I thought that Ehlers had a brilliant game tonight. I really did. I thought he was head and shoulders the best forward on the Jets, and let's be honest, lately the Scheifele-Velarde Connor line has been driving the bus. Ehlers has been playing fantastic as well. But like you said, tonight, look, and in an 82 game season, the Scheifele line's not going to have it every single night. I mean, there just aren't. Look at the couple games ago, Colorado comes in, the McKinnon line didn't have it that night. Obviously, credit to the Jets for shutting them down and taking away time and space from
Ehlers,
that line.
Lowry, and Iafallo. That was the first game they were together.
Exactly. So, I mean, like you said, we can dive deeper in and go line by line, but I think, when you have two of your top 9 forwards out in Appleton and Vlad Nemestikov, obviously, all due respect to Mason Appleton, Vlad Nemestikov creates a bigger hole at 2C. But I think Lowry has done an admirable job. Appleton and Nemestikov are going to be back soon, but I like the look of that line. There's some tenacity to that line. There's skill. It's intriguing. And obviously, like you said, Drew, it's not a line that, anybody expected to see, because Lowry, Niederreiter, Appleton, that's just like write it in pen, not in pencil, right? We've seen that line stick together so much over the last couple seasons, but you're absolutely right. The results speak for themselves like that. And they're exciting to watch. They really are.
Yeah, they are. Exactly. And, Ehlers, he spoke about it, after the Saturday game, and he's been speaking about it, just how much he enjoyed that opportunity on Saturday. And really, it looks like they have some chemistry. It's just almost like Ehlers' complexity to his game works really well with two guys who have simple games,
right?
And that's not
like is it like a yin and yang situation? Like I don't know, but you're absolutely right. They complement each other.
That's right. Even though it's almost like you put a super creative guy with guys who are just going to keep it simple, stupid. Again, not an insult in this case, and it works. Ehlers can do his thing, and Lowry and Iafallo can watch him do his thing, and they can sort of give him that space and give him that opportunity. And Ehlers doesn't have to worry, right now at least, about trying to also play with equally creative players. It seems like it's freed up Ehlers. It's freed up Cole Perfetti. He's been playing better hockey as of late now that he's with, Kupari and with Niederreiter. Again, we knew that Nemesnikov, Ehlers, and Perfetti wasn't really working very well. It hadn't been, and there was a time for a change. It was necessary.
Something had to give, Drew.
Something had to give, and it looks like it finally has by virtue of the Nemesnikov injury. It sounds like he's on the verge of returning, mind you. But, all of a sudden, if the Jets have, can sort of spread things out top to bottom, or change up lines 2 and 3, without losing anything defensively, but gaining things offensively, boy, that's a big boon to the Winnipeg Jets. This is the Illegal Curve post-game show presented by Play Now. Scott Arneal set to join us momentarily, coming live from the Matt Frost Media Center, where the Jets tonight defeated the Seattle Kraken 2-1. That game, of course, happening in the arena. Matt Frost Media Center is where the post-game availability from the Jets head coach will be occurring. That's set to happen momentarily. We have it queued up backstage, so as soon as we can see the Winnipeg Jets head coach, we will get to that. Can't talk about tonight, and we'll talk about the goal itself a little bit later on, without talking about Dylan DeMello. How great is that? 600th career game in the NHL. A guy who doesn't often get the accolades, gets that huge game-winning goal for the Winnipeg Jets. Here's Scott Arneal.
What's it like for Dylan DeMello to end game 600 in that manner?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll remember that one. That's awesome. Just a big game like that and to finish it like that, top shelf. It's nice to see.
What did you like most of the way that your team played in the last 2 periods, or the shots were very heavily tilted along with the zone time?
I liked how we played the last 2 periods, and not so much the first. Where we had talked about being better with our starts and coming out of the gate. Although, we give credit to Seattle too. They came hard, and we gave up I think we gave up 4 odd man rushes. A little bit repeating what happened in their building. Even though we talked about it, that they were going to, their D were joining, they were going to be in the rush. But we settled down, and then, like you mentioned, we took over the second, and they carried right into the third.
What would you like most about your fourth lines play? Like, they sort of seem to get some momentum shifts going for your group tonight.
Zone time, the big thing. Obviously asking them whether they're killing penalties or I get them to take D-zone draws, but they get zone time, and that's the biggest thing. And they go out and hack, whack, chop, and keep the other lines down there, or the opposition line. It isn't just the fourth line they're going against either. When they kept the Beniers line a couple times in their end of the rink, and so that's big minutes, and that's we got the momentum running there, and I probably should have run them out there a couple more times, but I just liked the way all of a sudden the ice got tilted, and we were kind of got them stuck in their end. That's why more in a second I kept rolling with the 3 lines quickly.
Part of this team's philosophy is defend really well and aggressively. You get the puck back faster, and you get to go to work. That looked like the second and third period, but even then, the zone denials, they basically were just chipping it past you and giving you the puck back. Give me an idea of what worked so well in your zone denials.
Well, the biggest thing, in the first period, we got caught on the wrong side of people, and it happened, down by the top of the circles or the dots. We were kind of hoping that maybe we'd get one more cycle or maybe one more turnover, and so we got on the wrong side of people, and they had 3 above us, they had 4 above us. That's really all they talked about after the first period. Just stay above people, and force them to go through you. Don't make it easy, and let them just make one pass and catch 3 guys. I thought we did a really good job of that. On our forecheck, we got in and above and got heavy, and then that created the turnovers. And hopefully you're making them play in their end of the rink a lot. Now they're tired, and the only thing you can do is get the red line and chip it in, and then we can reload and go do it again.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say on the goal that they did score, is that kind of maybe a set play or a Seattle thing with the lob? It looks like Schwartz pulled up.
I threw the sand wedge out there. It kind of caught us all. I think we weren't sure. At first it was everybody trying to find out where it was, and then but at the end of the day, there was 5 against our 3. That was one of those ones where we got caught, and so whatever happened, we just didn't have the numbers back to help it.
Your team's had so many examples this year of these games where you're down and you just keep doing the right things over and over and over again. The efforts there. What does it do to kind of lock down a team's identity and faith in itself going forward to have these payoffs over and over and over again?
Well, I think early in the year when we were on our streak there, it was taking us 50 minutes. Sometimes we had to go to overtime. We had to pull the goalie. We're just staying in games, and that was a lot of the message after the second was it's a 1-1 game in our building. just keep doing what we're doing, force them, they'll make a mistake. You don't always want it to go the last 26 seconds, whatever, but when we play our way and we play our style, sooner or later we're hoping the opposition's going to bend, and that's when we just pounce on it. And whether that comes off of cycle 5-on-5 or that comes off our power play, breaking a team down, it's just kind of staying with it, however long it takes. We're not trying to. I think we've learned some lessons over the years where we're down and all of a sudden we try to change our style of play, and then we give up more, and we give up that next goal that makes it tougher to come back.
Dylan DeMello is obviously, scoring that goal, his 600th game. It's a big milestone, a big moment. But his presence in your room off the ice, it seems like a well-respected teammate, a glue guy almost. What can you tell us about just his impact as a leader and just a personality within that dressing room?
Yeah, like we have our captains and our assistants, but we also have a leadership group, and he's a part of that. He's earned that. We just felt that. He's a guy, a voice, obviously 600 games. He's been around and he's played with, in a lot of different situations. And when you're thrust into a role like he has been the last few years of playing, top pairing, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. And so the biggest thing with those guys, most of those guys, is they lead by example of how they play, how they practice, how they work out, how they do their things off the ice. And that's what Mel does. Mel's, he's a great example for young defensemen. He's a great example for, players that want to play 600 games or more. And he just goes about his business every day, and he's pretty consistent.
Just wanted to ask you on Mark Scheifele. Obviously, another goal tonight. He's atop the NHL leaderboard in goals. But this year, Mark is producing an extraordinarily high volume of 5-on-5, high danger chances, more than he has in previous years. A lot of his goals are even strength. What do you think has led to that this year? He's obviously a pass-first player, but seems to be up and notch.
I think that right there, he's kind of changed his tune a little bit. And he isn't just a pass-first guy. And, but he is getting some great looks, too. Like he's in a situation where, whether it's Gabe giving it to him or whether it's KC or whether it's our defense, he's getting himself in position. He's getting inside to get these looks. And, it's different if you're standing outside the dots and trying to take one-timers from there. That's probably not going in. But he does a fantastic job of getting himself into scoring areas. And I think he realizes that it's not just his line mates that need to score. When he has a chance, he has to take those shots too.
Just to make sure he took a heavy hit after he pulled up on that one. Is he all right?
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah, he's all right. Well, he is all right now. We'll see how he wakes up tomorrow. But he did get a pretty good look there.
And then this gets to be fun because it all worked out and you got the shot block. But Nikolai Ehlers talked just about the desperate feeling, the emotion of trying to get back after the giveaway. Now he's defending a 2-on-1. Can you put, what does a hockey player feel like in a moment of panic like that?
He better get his butt back and make a play because he's the one that obviously created it. But he was so mad at himself when he came to the bench. That was a play that if he does get it to Mo, they've got two forwards standing at the blue line. But at the end of the day, I probably had a tough swallow there for a minute, and then went to see the rush come the other way. But you know what? He got back and did what he had to do, and that's why he's on that checking line.
Thanks. Jets head coach Scott Arniel tonight from the Matt Frost Media Center, talking about Nikolai Ehlers there at the end being on the quote-unquote checking line. I'm fairly certain he said that with a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek there, Mr. Ginsburg, as Nikolai Ehlers had that giveaway, something we have seen from him before, but he certainly did get back on the horse to break up the scoring chance before he could materialize for the Seattle Kraken. So, in that sense, Ehlers giveth, but he also taketh away a little bit in that sequence of events.
Yeah, and a pretty short and sweet press conference from Scott Arniel. Jacob Stoller came in with some late questions there, so we appreciate that. But I wanted to just talk about Dylan DeMello for a second, because obviously we'll get into his goal in the Play Now game recap. But you look at his stat line again tonight, and it's just like regular Dylan DeMello. Plays over 22 minutes, has a couple blocks, 3 blocks, couple shots on net. Obviously, a game-winning goal. Not the person that you're expecting to score the game-winning goal, but just wanted to mention, as you said earlier, Drew, like a big night for him. 600 games is a big deal. Like when you start to get into 400, 500, 600, 700 games. Like, these are big milestones, especially as I just mentioned. Like, it's not like Dylan DeMello is going to finish his career with 200 goals and 500 points, right? Like, longevity has really been his calling card in the NHL, and his consistency, right? And so I think, it's really fitting that he got that goal for a guy who's really an unsung hero. And, you think about these last 3 victories, which have been, obviously tonight's victory wasn't as impressive as the last 2, but the Jets have outscored their opponents 11-2. Like, they've played some really good shutdown defensive hockey. And Dylan DeMello deserves a big part of that, right? Like, he's going up against the McKinnon line. He's going up against the Kraken's top line.
I also think he's been playing better hockey as of late. There were some times earlier we're used to Dylan DeMello as Mr. Consistent. Where he's what you know about him is what you're going to get night in, night out. Earlier in the year, there were some nights where he didn't look himself. There were misreads. There were some just plays that weren't DeMello-esque. They weren't the proverbial coach's porn, as former Jets head coach once uttered regarding DeMello's game. You had seen some things that were not pretty from Dylan DeMello, but I see the game stabilizing again. I see the game sort of going back to the DeMello that we've expected for all these years, and why he's been sort of that ideal partner for Josh Morrissey for so long. And so that's great to see. And then, of course, anytime he gets a goal, anytime he gets rewarded on the offensive side of things, you can see the excitement that generates in the room and on the bench. I was just rewatching his goal again, and DeMello's not a guy that you usually expect to see a lot of emotion from. You don't see a lot of exuberance from him.
He was fired up.
He will, as you should be. When you score the game-winning goal with 27 seconds to go on your 600th career NHL game, you saw him go, let's effing go. He was pumped when all the guys swarmed him, which you would expect to see, and rightfully so in this situation.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, his game has been more noticeable, more stable, and him alongside Josh Morrissey, they've had to be that stabilizing force with all of these injuries on the back end. We talked about it on last weekend show, right? Like, last year, the Jets were remarkably healthy. Not so this year, with Dylan Sandberg missing significant amount of time, with Hayden Fleury missing time.
Getting healthy, probably going to be healthy basically come Saturday, more or less.
Well, yeah, we're going to have to talk about that quite a bit on Saturday's show, because it's all of a sudden becoming a very crowded blue line. But yeah, a great night for Dylan DeMello. Obviously, Mark Scheifele scores the power play goal. Like, is the power play? I want to say the power play is above 50% now in the last 4 games, because heading into tonight's game,
they haven't had very many opportunities, but they've been scoring at least one a game. Is to your point?
Or no, sorry, it still is 50%, because the Jets went 1 for 2 tonight.
1 for 2 tonight.
50% in 4 games is just absurd, right? Yeah. Like, it really is. And tonight's game, that was a huge difference maker, which it has been in previous games.
Well, recession proof was the line of the week when it came to the power play. If you missed any of that audio, it's of course available on the website. But when you're
hot dog carts in the Jets power play, right?
Yeah, when you're struggling at 5-on-5, or when you're not generating what you want at 5-on-5, to be able to have a power play that can bail you out, or can be what generates you that goal, is a world of difference. That's just what the Jets, good for the Kraken for only, taking the 2 penalties. But, the Jets power play is so lethal, and has been as of late, that, 2 power plays, might very well result in 1 goal against.
And if I can mention this now, Drew, usually we don't talk about penalties that don't result in goals in the played now game recap, but I thought that was a weak call on Logan Stanley. Like, I really did. And I realize he'll get criticized, because he's been criticized in the past for taking penalties. But to me, that's a guy who's 6'7". I just didn't think that was elbowing. I just didn't think that was a penalty, period.
He was bigger than the player that he engaged with. His elbow was very much looked like it was, properly positioned, tucked against his body. And he just happened to, when you're that tall and your elbow is at the height of the opponent.
Exactly.
You're right. I would agree with you that was certainly not I'll tell you what, McDavid's elbow yesterday that went unpenalized was a lot more dangerous than whatever Logan Stanley did in tonight's game. McDavid's elbow last night, if you haven't seen it, on Marcus Johansson of the Minnesota Wild, he picked the head, as the expression goes, and that was as dirty as it gets.
Right. And I think what made it more surprising is you just don't see McDavid play like that often, right? Like, that's the type of thing that you expect from, I don't want to pick on Ryan Hartman here, but actually I do want to pick on Ryan Hartman. But you expect a player like that to do that.
Speaking of that Oilers Wild game last night, and I know we're getting off track, and we'll get back to the Jets Kraken game. Did you see Ryan Hartman kick the legs out from underneath Leon Draisaitl in their board battle in that game
I didn't
last
see that.
night?
No.
Yeah, they're
doesn't surprise me. Ryan Hartman's a POS.
Yeah, he is absolutely, a routine board battle, and you see Hartman, very sneakily stick his leg from behind and take out Draisaitl so that he falls on the behind in this case. In any event, we'll move back off of that. We'll get into the Jets and the Seattle Kraken. We say good evening to so many of you who are joining us live tonight on the Illegal Curve post-game show. If you haven't already done so, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you'll be notified each and every time we go live here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. We're going to do it again Saturday night after the Jets and the Calgary Flames, but before that, we're going to do it Saturday morning, 9 a.m. here on the Illegal Curve YouTube channel. We're going to talk about the Jets and the Flames. We're going to be joined by Frankie Corrado. Frankie was on the intermission analyst of tonight's Jets Kraken game, so we're always excited to catch up with Frankie Corrado on Saturday morning, talk about the Winnipeg Jets, and of course, we'll have another guest yet to be announced. Further reminder, before we get into the nitty-gritty details, there were only 3 goals in tonight's game. The Play Now game recap's not going to take all that long, folks. A further reminder, next Wednesday, 6 days from now, at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue, the Illegal Curve post-game show, the Illegal Curve watch party. It's all happening at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. Join yours truly, join Ezra Ginsburg, join Dave Manouk, join all the Illegal Curve Nation, all our friends, all our family, all the people that we call family, even if they might not be blood relatives. We're all going to be at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue next Wednesday for the Jets and the Colorado Avalanche. So come on by, introduce yourself, tip a few back, watch the Jets and the Avs, and then stick around for the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Really looking forward to that all-you-can-eat pasta, Drew.
It's not all-you-can-eat pasta. It's Pasta Tuesday all January long. I explained that to you already, Ezra, that it's not all you can eat. I know that you can eat a lot. They said that the dollars and cents just don't work to have that offer available to you, but it is Pasta Tuesday all January long with our friends at Boston Pizza.
Look, Drew, I'm not going to Italy anytime soon, so the taste
it's only
of Italy.
Manouk who's got the private jet.
Yeah, exactly. But the taste of Italy is the closest I'm going to get to Italy, so I'm fired up.
There you go. Now, before I hit the button for the Play Now game recap, the first star of tonight's game, I'm sure it did go to Dylan DeMello. But what's more important, who I thought did the best performance of anybody in tonight's game, was Olivia Stedman, who performed the national anthems at tonight's game. She represents the Movement Center of Manitoba and the inclusion community, and what a fantastic job she did on
I had
national
goosebumps
anthems.
during that.
I did too.
That was something very special, and good on the Jets organization for selecting Olivia, because that was, first off, she's an incredible singer.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can't not get emotional and get all the feels, as the kids say, listening to her. So I'm glad you brought that up, Drew, because I was watching that with my kids before they went to bed. And she was a star. She's an absolute star.
Absolutely. No question about it. She did a great job. So I had to make mention of that before we get into the nitty-gritty details. We go goal by goal, as we do here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. We're always thrilled to do it. It is the Play Now game recap.
The Play Now game recap.
big thanks to our friends at Play Now for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Learn to bet with Play Now, the official betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets. Sign up and get up to $250 in bonus bets. Conditions apply. 18 plus. Enjoy responsibly. First period, not a great one for the Winnipeg Jets. Scott Arniel alluded to it. He said it himself in the post-game presser that the Winnipeg Jets weren't great to start this game. The Seattle Kraken, in fact, opened the scoring. Matty Beniers, his 9th of the year, assist to Capo Caco and Jaden Schwartz, coming at the 8-12 mark of the first period. And this was just sort of if it's a set play by the Kraken, it's a hell of a set play to be able to flip it up like that. I can't believe it is. It doesn't make much sense, but it is. It's Jaden Schwartz who flips it up. Capo Caco goes and tracks down the loose puck that sort of checks up nicely, like a well-executed curling draw, stopping on the button. And he slides it over to Matty Beniers, who taps it in for his 9th of the year. Just, it's almost one of those plays where the Jets are caught a little bit. Velarde and Scheifele are caught too deep. Morrissey and DeMello and Connor are trying to get back, but the Kraken have numbers on it. But it's just it's a really well executed play by the Kraken. The Jets aren't able to defend it very well. Combination of, I think, poor defensive coverage plus a unique phenomenon, not a play you typically have to practice to try and defend against, but well executed by the Kraken to give them a 1-0 lead, 8-12 into the game.
Yeah, like you said, Connor and Scheifele get caught a little bit in the Kraken zone. So when the Kraken come back transitioning, it's kind of
Velarde and Scheifele get caught a little bit.
Pardon me, Velarde and Scheifele get caught, and it's kind of a bit of an odd man rush. Not a full odd man rush, I don't think you would say, but like you said, I don't watch the Kraken enough, Drew, to know if they've done this in a game. I'm sure this is something that, look, Jaden Schwartz was trying to do, he was trying to, whatever you want to call it, chip shot, the old flip shot. He was trying to
get the 56-degree wedge out and wanted to put some English on it.
But like you said, you don't do that more than 1 or 2 times in a game, and obviously it worked in this case. But I mean, Capo Caco does a great job. It's bouncing, and he does a good job of corralling it, and then he just puts it right on Matty Beniers' stick. So like you said, it's not like you can't really. I mean, there's not a lot more that you can dissect on this goal, except for the fact that maybe the Jets get caught a little bit watching the puck. Like you can see Kyle Connor gets, even though Josh Morrissey, that's his man, Kyle Connor gets caught a little bit, watching the puck kind of a little bit too slow on the back check. So you don't love that. But I think more so about anything, like I would say I would look to more about just that was a nice executed play by the Kraken, as opposed to saying that there was like some major breakdown in the Jets defense.
I also don't think it's the kind of play that's going to be replicated. But the teams aren't going to watch that, take it away as, this is an opportunity. We can expose the Jets, with this scenario, because it's just such a unique flip play that it's not something that I think other teams are going to try and use moving forward.
Well, I agree with that. And just sticking with the goal here, like I think, it's a hard play to get that result. It's not what he did. It's not like the skill is crazy. I mean, a lot of players can make that type of little flip play, but it's the fact that it resulted in a goal. A lot of things have to go right. And I think, like we talked about, Kyle Connor's a little bit slow on the back check. So it's a 3, it creates a little bit of an odd man situation. And Capo Caco just does a really nice job, like I said, of corralling the puck and getting it to Matty Beniers, who's right on the doorstep of Hellebuck, right? So it's more so that it's just you don't see that close proximity flip like that. Like oftentimes you'll see a defenseman flip the puck from his own blue line or maybe in the neutral zone, and then that might result in a 2-on-1. But you have to. It's all a question of getting body positioning and creating an odd man situation there. That's what happened. And again, obviously there was only 1 goal scored tonight by the Kraken, but they deserve full marks for executing that type of, trick shot play.
Yeah, it's a good way to describe it. It's a trick shot play. The first period comes to an end, as we mentioned, with the Kraken leading 1-0. Not a great first period by the Winnipeg Jets. They were slow, which is sort of had been a bit of a story for the Winnipeg Jets. To some extent this year. The last couple of games certainly haven't been the case. Remember, they score the three, Connor gets the natural hat trick against Vancouver. By the way, the Canucks in the first period of tonight's game on home ice against the LA Kings, they also gave up 3 goals. So they've given up 3. They've been down 3-0.
Kings team is good, Drew. I've been saying that all year.
No question the Kings are good. We saw them here last Friday. The Canucks are a team that is a mess.
They're going down.
I don't know if it's because of Pettersson and JT Miller specifically, but you come back home, you had a bad outing against Winnipeg, you give up 3 first-period goals against the Jets, and now you've given up 3 first-period goals again against the Kings. So that's bad for Vancouver.
And the Canucks lost 4 of the 5 games on the road trip, right? So not only was a bad beatdown from the Jets, it was a bad road trip in general. And like you said, Drew, I mean, we assume that the JT Miller, Elias Pettersson situation is having an impact negatively on their play right now. But I just think it's just a team that it seems to be in disarray. It just doesn't seem to be anything resembling the team that had 109 points last year. Right. And if they keep this up, they're going to quickly find themselves completely out of the playoff race.
You're absolutely right about that, Ezzy. 1-0 after 20 minutes for the Kraken. The Jets tie it up on the power play. We talked about it when the 5-on-5 isn't going, when things aren't executing tremendously well at 5-on-5. Lean on your league best power play, and the Jets do that. Mark Scheifele, his 27th of the year. Assist to Kyle Connor and Josh Morrissey. This comes with Jamie Alexiak in the penalty box for interference. And, the Jets are just moving the puck well. They're executing on the puck retrievals, and then ultimately it's the Kyle Connor shot, and the rebound goes to Mark Scheifele, and he's able to wire it past Joey Decord. But, before this, you love the puck movement that, is a few seconds before the puck even goes in. Ehlers with a good chance. Velarde, with a rebound opportunity, collects the puck, and the Jets just reset back to where they belong, back to Scheifele, up to Morrissey. Morrissey down to Connor. Connor with the shot, over to Scheifele on the rebound, into the back of the net. Just movement, retrieval, goal. Or 1 goal in this case to make it 1-1 for the Winnipeg to tie it up at that point in time.
Yeah, I think you broke down the goal well there, Drew. And I think
you're always saying goal, retrieval.
That part, the repetition for me, anytime, just repeat words, and for me that'll just sink right in. But it bears repeating that the Jets power play over the last 4 home games is 50%.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't see that anymore, right? Like, you just don't, with the quality of penalty kills around the NHL. And I did want to mention,
you muted yourself.
It wasn't a good, just temporarily muted myself. Okay. It wasn't a good first period, but as I said, I just wanted to mention, I liked the PK. And if you remember, there was a scoring, Kyle Connor had a scoring chance on the penalty kill. I love the aggressiveness. So even though the first period wasn't good, I really did like the penalty kill. And it bears repeating that the penalty kill has also been much better on this homestand than it was previously, especially on that long road trip.
Ever since the Predators game where the Jets took those 7 minor penalties against the Nashville Predators, and I think they gave up that 1 goal Philip Forsberg scored on the penalty kill. On the power play against the Preds, I guess that's 9 days ago at this point. And I don't believe the Jets have given up a power play goal since then in the remainder of the game, in the 4 games they played since then. So, things are coming together on the penalty kill. They've continued to be where they are on the power play, but look out.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, exactly. Look out, right? Like, now the Jets are playing better at even strength. They were always really, this season, even strength has been pretty good. I mean, we'll maybe forget the fact that the second line offense is dried up, but the penalty kill, certainly coupled with the power play, is making the Jets really unbeatable right now, combined with the play of Connor Hellebuck, right? So, but just back to the power play goal, though, like, again, what stands out to me is, Mark Scheifele is in the bumper, and then he gets out of the bumper. Ehlers goes to the bumper, and then now, so Scheifele is a shooting option on the flank, right? And obviously, it's an incredibly hard shot by Kyle Connor and a juicy rebound by Joey Decord. Joey Decord, like, coughs that right up to to Mark Scheifele. But again, like you said, it's the quick movement. It's the Jets' movement in certain in the dangerous places. And yeah, I mean, it's just right now, we've talked about this for weeks, if not months now, but you really do expect the Jets to score a power play goal every single game now, right? Like not every single time they go out there, but I mean, 50% of the time really over the last 4 games is truly incredible. And, it was obviously a key goal because you got the feeling in the first period, after the first period, that this was not going to be a high scoring game. And Joey Decord, we should mention, Joey Decord might have given up a big juicy rebound there.
He played
but
well.
He's a
otherwise.
good goaltender. And I think a lot of people, Drew, just, quickly here, Decord signed a 5-year deal. I think that was right at the beginning of the season, if I'm not mistaken, or it was, I forget if it was October or November. I'd have to look it up, but he signed that 5-year, I think $25 million contract, kind of similar to Mackenzie Blackwood's contract. And I think a lot of people thought, you're giving Decord, a big contract based on 1 year. But I mean, the way he's played this year, his numbers have been phenomenal. And I think, what did he have? 34 saves, something like that tonight. So even though he lets in the late goal to DeMello, which we'll obviously talk about next, I think Decord deserves a lot of credit. I thought he was easily one of the top 3 stars in the game tonight.
He signed that contract on October 9th, and it actually doesn't take effect until next year. So he's playing under his previous contract at $1.2 million for this year. So a lot of good, some surplus value being earned by the Seattle Kraken there. And then he starts the 5-year, $25 million contract next year. So Decord certainly was very solid for the loss for the Seattle Kraken tonight. And, this is a guy, again, a late pick, a 7th round pick by the Ottawa Senators. So you always sort of like,
you love to see it. See it
when guys like that sort of find their way in the NHL. And
he was an Ottawa draft pick, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. Drafted by the Sens in the 7th round back in 20.
Sorry, Drew. Sometimes there's a lot going on in the chat. We've got over 350 people watching, so sometimes I get distracted. But I just wanted to get that in there. That Ottawa obviously knew what they were doing, getting a late steal. Obviously, they don't have them anymore. But you love to see guys like that, the underdogs.
19-5 the shots on goal in the second period for the Winnipeg Jets. So that they weren't happy with their first, and they decided to turn it around in that second period, which they certainly did, taking a commanding control of that. Then the third period starts, and the Jets decide they want to be some iron workers. Adam Lowry, he catches iron. Logan Stanley, he catches iron. So Jets 2 very big opportunities there. I believe it was Andre Burakovsky who had a great opportunity for the Kraken. That may have even happened. Was that in the third? My period
was the third.
That was the third as well. He comes in on a breakaway after a bad line change by the Jets.
Oh, no, sorry. That was late in the second.
Late in the second. That's what I thought. I meant to mention it before. Bad line change by the Jets. Burakovsky comes in, resulting in Connor Hellebuck making his best save of the game, a beautiful glove save to stop him. That was one of only, again, the Kraken had 8 shots total over the final 40 minutes of this game. The Jets only gave up 19 shots in the entirety of the game. So a pretty easy night for Connor Hellebuck workload-wise.
I think he might get the start Saturday. Maybe.
I think he might. He might get the start. Saturday, hockey night in Canada, hockey day in Canada. The Jets and the Calgary Flames to wrap up this homestand. A homestand that, of course, with the Jets' victory on Saturday and not putting cart before the horse, but a homestand that at one point in time was 1-1-2. The Jets have it certainly within their power and within their opportunity to end the 8-game homestand at 5-1-2. And boy, is that a nice little record to take after an 8-game homestand to start.
Absolutely. Points in 7 of 8 games. Like you said, Drew, it didn't start off very well. And I mean, we talked about the LA game. That was a very disappointing loss to the LA Kings, but obviously, the Jets have turned it around, and the Calgary Flames these games are always close, and the Calgary Flames are obviously fighting for their playoff lives as well. But this was a huge one. And, I before we get into the DeMello goal, I really thought that Ehlers' speed, going back to the Ehlers-Lowry IFL line, Ehlers' speed was really a difference maker in the third period and on the DeMello goal. But that line, I thought, was easily the best line for either of the two teams in this game, maybe minus the first period. But like we've said before, it's okay if you have 1 bad period and 2 good periods. It's not okay if you have 2 bad periods and 1 good period, right? So I think Ehlers was Look, he obviously had the injury early in the season, and that second line has not been fantastic, but he himself has been fantastic. And just wanted to mention that I thought that, his line was driving. Lowry was obviously going to the net, and, Iafallo has the ability to dig up pucks and do the dirty work along the board. So again, once Nemesnikov comes back, the Jets are going to have some decisions to make. But certainly, I think, like you said, kind of in the first 5 or so minutes of the show, Drew, I think, Scott Arniel and the coaching staff have something to think about, right? And maybe that's Mason Appleton, is on the fourth line when he comes back. Maybe that means Alex Iafallo has earned third line time. I'm not sure. But certainly, you can make the argument the Jets haven't really missed Nemesnikov and Appleton based on outscoring their opposition 11-2 in their last 3 games.
Not too shabby. The Jets, as I mentioned, after catching all that iron, they catch a break off the stanchion. The puck, which looks like it's going to be, a relatively harmless situation in the tail end of the game. They get the puck in deep, and then good forecheck by Lowry, good forecheck by Alex Iafallo, and it is for the Kraken, Adam Larson, who's trying to chip it up off the glass, and unfortunately for Larson, it does catch that stanchion, and it gets onto the stick. Instead of going, harmlessly, it goes into the middle of the ice to Ehlers. He scoops up the loose puck. Everyone's watching him. He finds Dylan DeMello. Lots of traffic in front of the net, and a great shot by Dylan DeMello to beat Joey Decord to be the game-winning goal, and almost equally as important, it's our
The Seagram shot of the game.
Seagram's shot of the game. Big thanks to our friends at Seagram's for their support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. I think on a night like tonight, when you get your 600th on your 600th game, 200th for Rasmus Kupari, I might add, your 600th game for Dylan DeMello, your game-winning goal, something that he doesn't typically get. It seems to me that's a Seagram's VO kind of night afterwards. Masterfully blended, distinctly Canadian. Big thanks to our friends at Seagram's for their support. And again, it's just very sort of poetic in that he gets this goal and this opportunity. And you love the amount of traffic that's in front of the cord after Ehlers finds DeMello. You look and you see that Iafallo's there, Lowry's there. There's a number of defenders for the Kraken that are also, in there. Adam Larson's one of them. Vince Dunn is one of them. Lot of traffic in front of the cord. But Dylan DeMello absolutely snipes this one, picks the corner, and gives the Jets the 2-1 lead, and ultimately the 2-1 victory with 27 seconds to go in the third period.
And Drew, like you said, I mean, it's obviously a fortuitous bounce off of the stanchion, but what you got to love, and I mentioned this earlier, Nikolai Ehlers beats Oliver Bjorkstrand to the puck. And, obviously we always have the replay of the goals. You've got it on your second screen. I only use one screen. I don't need two. But
after we get you drywall, we'll get you a second screen. So first we're taking a GoFundMe so we can get you some drywall, and then we'll get you a second screen GoFundMe going.
It's funny. I used to use 2 screens at work. Yeah. I really I'm a one screen type of guy.
I can't do it. I need a second screen almost.
Yeah, no, I get it. Some people need a second screen, but I found that I just was not really using it as much. Anyways, I digress. But I'm a one screen kind of guy. Anyway,
once you started putting it down and using it as a pillow to take your naps, that was probably the sign you didn't need it.
Well, yeah, I like to do everything with my one screen. I like to have my lunch. I close my laptop and have my lunch on top of it. I like to,
explains the crumbs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sometimes those keys get a little bit, crumbed up, as you say, Drew. But no, I mean, it's a fortuitous bounce. But the big thing for me here is Ehlers beats Bjorkstrand to the puck. He comes in with speed, and like I said, I've got the freeze frame. I've paused it. And all 5 Kraken players are watching Nikolai Ehlers here. Sure. And so Dylan DeMello does a nice job of coming in, acknowledging that. And like you said, you've got Alex Iafallo, you've got a couple Kraken defensemen, you've got Adam Lowry, who's headed towards the net. I don't think Joey Decord sees this.
No,
or if he does, if he does see it, he doesn't see a lot of it, right? No. So I mean, at the end
of
the
day,
day,
traffic in front of him.
I know there's so many big bodies in front of him, and it's it's not the prettiest goal. It's a nice shot by Dylan DeMello, but you love to see it, as we talked about earlier, on his 600th game, and just a guy who doesn't score a lot, and it's the game winner. It's with 27 or however many seconds left there were. 27 seconds. There you go. So, I mean, just another huge win. And we've talked about it. the Jets, sometimes they'll win games big.
Yeah.
Against the Vancouver Canucks most recently, or against the Colorado Avalanche, an impressive 3-0 win. Sometimes you win these close games. Sometimes, look, we've seen the Jets lose to the Ducks twice this year, close games, both in overtime, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they not both in overtime? Yeah. So, I mean, look, sometimes you lose these games, sometimes you win these games. But at the end of the day, 15,000 people left that game happy. Jets fans watching the game on TV were happy with that result. And really, that's all that really matters if you think about it.
Yeah, exactly right. 2-1 final for the Winnipeg Jets. The homestand continues on Saturday. The Jets, as I mentioned, have the opportunity 4-1-2 right now on the homestand, having won 3 games in a row, and then they have the opportunity to make it a 5-1-2 homestand, as this 8-game homestand comes to a conclusion on Saturday night before the Jets head out to Utah. They face the Utah Hockey Clubs on Monday, and then the Colorado Avalanche on Wednesday before coming home the following Saturday.
What's Utah's like state name? Like, how New Jersey's the Garden State?
Yeah.
What's Utah? I was gonna say it, but then
I mean, the initial response that came to my mind was probably not appropriate and a little bit snarky. So I'm going to
the Mountain State?
No, I mean, I don't precisely know. I mean, I'm not sure what the tagline is.
I just Googled it. The Beehive State?
Really? The Beehive State?
Yeah.
Are there a lot of beehives there?
I guess so. Hopefully the Jets don't get stung.
They're nicely done. I guess they're producing a lot of honey there. I'm not entirely certain what's going on, but regardless, the Jets will make their first visit to Utah to face the hockey club on Monday. But before that, we of course have the Saturday night contest, Cowboy Night or Country Night or whatever the hell it is, on Saturday night between the Jets and the Calgary Flames.
You're gonna be at the game, Drew, so I'm gonna have to borrow your cowboy hat and your cowboy boots.
Well, I'm gonna hopefully go. My son, I told my son, taking my son to the game on Saturday, I said it's Country Night and they're giving out cowboy hats to the first however many thousand through the door. He's like, Dad, can we go really, really early so we can get a I'm like, yes, son, we can go really, really early so we can get a country hat. All right.
I love it. Yeah. Boy.
Coming up on Saturday, but of course tonight we still have more of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Ezra Ginsburg. It's presented by Play Now. Don't go anywhere. More to come. Thanks everyone for joining us again. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button. We'll return momentarily.
We want to thank you for not betting with Play Now and choosing our illegal gambling site instead.
Because we couldn't afford things like this without your money.
So much of your money.
Now you might have questions like,
Do our profits benefit your community?
No.
Or bet with Play Now, Manitoba's local legal and secure gambling site.
Dining, entertainment, parking, and convenience, all in one spot. City Place is located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg, attached to the Canada Life Centre. Whether you're working, living, or out for a night in the downtown, make City Place your go-to destination before or after the fun finds you. Lunchtime, game time, anytime, visit City Place at 333 St. Mary Avenue, next to Canada Life Centre. Holt Dental, the new official dentist of Illegal Curve, has a philosophy rooted in 2 unyielding principles: genuinely caring about patients and providing outstanding service. Being a patient of Holt Dental means more than just checkups and treatments. It's taking the time to listen and talk to each patient so they can achieve the best long-term health, functionality, and aesthetics for their teeth, mouth, and gums. Conveniently located at Grant Park Festival on Taylor Avenue, Holt Dental is dentistry of the highest quality in a comfortable and relaxed environment. For more information, visit holtdental.ca. Oh, and there's plenty of free parking at the front door, too. Celebrating its 40th year as Winnipeg's home for stand-up comedy, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club has recently been named Canada's top comedy club and a top 5 comedy club in North America. From birthday parties to date nights to fundraisers and everything in between, Rumors is your destination for the best and most affordable live entertainment Winnipeg has to offer. For more information on upcoming shows, Rumors' incredible promotions, and to purchase tickets, visit rumorscomedyclub.com.
This January at Boston Pizza, every day is Pasta Tuesday. That means BP's famous pastas start at just $11.99 every single day. Create your own or go gourmet for just a few bucks more. Come on in for Pasta Tuesday pricing any day. Only this January at Boston Pizza.
25 minutes before the top of the hour. It's the Illegal Curve post-game show. It's presented by Play Now. Drew Mandel and Ezra Ginsburg with you on this Thursday night. The reason it's called the Beehive State, we did the deep dive during the commercial break because that's what we do here. It's the deeper historical meaning behind the nickname comes from the beehive symbol the Mormon settlers chose in 1848, even before Utah even became a territory. So there you go. The more you know.
Even before Drew was born.
Yeah, slightly before. I was born in 1860, so just a couple years before before I was born. But yes, close enough. So there is the reason. I'm sure you were all on pins and needles, waiting to find out why it was called the Beehive State, and now you know. Everyone's a little smarter tonight here on the Illegal Curve post-game show as a result.
There's no way I would have guessed that. Like, I mean, your geography is a lot better than mine, Drew. You go to the U.S. a lot more than I do. I couldn't think of it.
You're on the no-fly list, and you're not allowed to cross the border. But soon enough, we'll get that cleared up for you.
Yeah, eventually, I'm looking forward to going back to Grand Forks, right? But yeah, I mean, Utah's won't be an easy game for the Jets. I mean, the Jets are obviously, further ahead of them in the standings, and I would say a much better team. But Utah's much improved. They're not an easy win as they were in previous years, that's for sure.
Oddly, I was expecting that they'd have a good home record. Oddly, they're far better on the road than they are at home. On the road, they're 12-8-3. At home, 6-10-4.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's not good home record. I would have thought that playing in front of people in a real arena would have given them some juice to have a better home record. That has not materialized so far, but nonetheless, it will never be an easy contest. The Jets will have to bring their A game, but before that, they'll have to bring their A game on Saturday night against the Calgary Flames. Murat Atesh, our good friend of The Athletic, he spoke with Dylan DeMello after the game. Here's what DeMello had to say. Quote, "That was awesome. Obviously, I'm a guy who doesn't score a lot. 600 games is a great accomplishment. I'm proud of it." Continuing on, "It takes a lot of people to help you get there. That was kind of on my mind before the game. Between your family and friends, your coaches and teammates, and all the staff to help get you here. That was special in its own right. And then to get the game winner, that just kind of put the cherry on the top, and then to get the win. It was a really special night and one that I will remember." Absolutely. I mean, I can't say it much better than Dylan DeMello. No surprise that DeMello is eloquent and well-spoken and can fully appreciate all those who've helped him to get to this point and fully appreciate the impressive aspect of 600 wins, 600 games and the game-winning goal, and it all coming full circle. So a real nice night for one of those unsung heroes. If you remember, who was it? I guess it was Cactus Jack Wells, the happy honker back in the day. I mean, I'm really probably dating myself now, so maybe some of the older folks in the chat who can remember that after the Bomber games. Dylan DeMello is the kind of guy who would deserve the happy honker
for sure
in tonight's contest for the Winnipeg Jets.
Absolutely. And we talked about it earlier, but it's nice to hear those comments courtesy of Murat, because look, DeMello, even though I think you spoke about it earlier, Drew, there's been a little bit more inconsistency in his game than in previous years. He's the type of defenseman that if you don't hear his name a lot, you know that he's playing a good game, right? As opposed to if you hear his name a little bit too much, he might be turning the puck over or things like that. But he's been such a steadying presence on the back end for so many years now with Josh Morrissey. And, this again is a topic for the Saturday show. But like when I look at the Jets defense, like I have no issues with that top pairing going up against most other teams. I have more concerns once you get down to the third pairing. But Dylan DeMello has shown time and time again, look, go back to the bubble right? When Morrissey and DeMello were tasked with shutting down Morrissey and, McDavid and Draisaitl, right? Like, so he's proven. I know some people don't like the fact that maybe he's not 6'4" or 6'5", but as far as I'm concerned, Dylan DeMello can. Yeah, exactly. So as far as I'm concerned, DeMello can get the job done playing on the top pair with Josh Morrissey, playing 22, 23 minutes a night. So again, a big night for DeMello and the DeMello household, and you love to see it, and you love to see another win. Kind of crazy, Drew, that the Jets are up to 31 wins on the season, right? Like, I think we have to start talking about a 60-win season really is a possibility. Like, I'm not saying it's necessarily going to happen, but it's certainly a possibility the way that they've been playing this year.
No reason not to legitimately have that conversation based on based on their record and based on their success as of late. It's certainly within the realm of possibility. Before we wrap up tonight, I want to give one more shout out. I was made aware, and I'll be honest, these are friends of mine, so that's why I'm giving them the shout out. Wheatland Hockey Academy. So if you have a youngin who's in the hockey, and looking to develop his skills and or her skills, the Wheatland Hockey Academy online, wheatlandhockey.ca. What I love about this, besides the fact that I know the principals who are involved in it, and I know that these people are good, solid people who are interested in developing your child both on the ice and, most importantly, developing them off the ice, giving them the skills necessary to succeed both in the hockey sense and then succeed in the societal sense. If you're looking for a hockey academy like that, one that cares about the kid, cares about improving them both on the ice and off the ice, Wheatland Hockey Academy is for you. Wheatlandhockey.ca for more information. So I want to throw a bone to some friends every now and then, and I do say that knowing that they will take good care of your youngin looking to develop their skills in hockey.
Absolutely, yeah. No, good on you, Drew. And like you mentioned, we know the family involved, and they just launched this. This is a new venture, and love that logo.
Yeah,
it's a fantastic logo. Check them out. They're on Instagram. I'm not sure if they're on Twitter/X or Facebook, but they're definitely on Instagram. So look them up, Wheatland Hockey Academy. And like you said, a good group of people, and we're excited to see this new academy progress and develop.
Yeah, exactly right. So there you go. So there's a little bit of homework for you if you want to go check things out on the course of tonight after tonight's program ceases, which, by the way, it's about to do. So that's it for your Ezra and yours truly on this Thursday night. We'll be back, as I mentioned, Saturday morning, 9 a.m. with the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. So be sure to join us back then for that. If you haven't already done so, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast, leave us some feedback here, there, and everywhere regarding this program. So we always want you to do that. And what we also want you to do is tell people in your life who might not otherwise be aware of what we're doing here. They might not be fully aware of how fun this is. Win or
we like
lose.
Fun. We
like fun. It's something to do. You were watching the game. Keep the fun rolling after that. And we'll continue to have some fun here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. So if you haven't already told the people that you know and you love, be sure to tell them after tonight's show to join us Saturday morning, and then join us again on Saturday night after the Jets and the Flames. Big thank you to all of the sponsors of Illegal Curve who make this show, the Saturday show, the website, a possibility. That, of course, is our friends at Play Now, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club. Friday night completely sold out at Rumors, but you can get tickets for Saturday night. There's not very many left, so get them quickly. RumorsComedyClub.com. Holt Dental, City Place, Boston Pizza, and Seagram's support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. For Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel on the way out. Until Saturday morning at 9 a.m., we wish you good night and good luck, and thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.